Hello, I'm Tony Dungy. Most of you may know me as a football coach, the winner of the 2006 Super Bowl with the Colts, but there is much more behind my story than that. My story starts in Jackson, Michigan, an hour and a half west of Detroit and an hour and a half south of Lansing. It's a little town in the middle of Michigan. I was raised by my father, Wilbur Dungy, and my mother, Cleomea Dungy. Both of them contributed to what leader I would become later in the future. My father, Dr. Wilbur, was one of the first black males in Michigan community college system, and my mother taught at Jackson High School. They both taught us to reach all of our potential in sports, school, family, and faith. I went to high school at Parkside High School, the crosstown rivalry of Jackson High where my mother taught. There I was a two-sport athlete in both basketball and football. My mother always heard her students trash talking about how they were going to beat me the next game. Eventually, my athletic career sailed off, and I played college football for the Minnesota Gophers. I had a great 4 years at Minnesota and graduated with a degree. I eventually opted for the NFL draft, but did not get drafted. The recent debate was that black quarterbacks were not allowed in the NFL. It was not very common, and that racial discrimination still existed, even at something such high prestige as the NFL. I was later undrafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers and played defensive back there for 3 years. As a player, I have won my first Super Bowl with the Steelers, and my only, as a player. My playing time wasn't suffice, and I knew my career in the NFL as a player would not be long. After 3 short years, I quickly decided to become a coach, and thankfully the Steelers let me coach for them. And this is now where my coaching career took off. I started off as a defensive back coach for the Steelers and eventually made my way to defensive coordinator, which is the biggest role on the defense. And after 8 years with the Steelers, I moved on. I later went to be the defensive back coach of the Kansas City Chiefs with my dear friend Herm Edwards, in which I coached there for 2 years up until 1991. I later got a promotion to the Vikings defensive coordinator, in which I coached there for 4 years up until 1996. And starting in '96, I finally took my first head coaching job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At the times, they were one of the worst teams in the NFL, and I am glad to say I helped turn around their performance. We made the playoffs a total of 4 times, and 3 years consecutively. In 1999 through 2001, we made the playoffs 3 times in a row, in '99 winning my first playoff game ever as a head coach. The 2000 and 2001 playoffs weren't so exciting. After 2 lopsided losses, I was fired as the head coach of Tampa Bay. After much praying and questioning if I ever should try to be an NFL coach again, an answer came, and in 2002, I was hired as the Indianapolis Colts head coach. Many good and bad times happened in Indianapolis. In 2005, I lost my son Jamie, and that affected our team as a whole because we were a family. After Jamie passed, our team lost our first game that season, ending our 13-game winning streak. All the good times we shared in Tampa and Indianapolis were gone. But me and my wife never lost hope in God. We always knew there was an answer for all of our problems. Being highly infamous for being a soft coach, me and my players have always taken beats and shots for never performing in the playoffs, and that was up until 2006. In 2006, we finally have not got upsetted and made it all the way to the playoffs to play the Chicago Bears. It was an exciting February for everyone, especially the fact that it was Black History Month. The winner of the Super Bowl would be the first African American coach to ever win the Lombardi Trophy. With good play and a lot of blessings from the Lord, we eventually took the Lombardi back to Indianapolis. In the next year, in 2007, I passed Don Shula to become the winningest coach in Indianapolis Colts history with the help of 2-time MVP Peyton Manning. Later in 2008, one of my proteges, Mike Tomlin, became the second African American to win the Lombardi Trophy. After the 2009 season, I finally decided to retire at the age of 54. But I couldn't decide to leave my life's passion behind so easily. So I took up broadcasting and I now work for NBC. Throughout my career, I have written books in the attempt to try to inspire people, young, old, football lovers and not football lovers, to keep God close to their heart, and also family, something that is not too common nowadays. I love to teach my children and my family the way my parents did. I now reside with my wife, Lauren, who I met back in my Pittsburgh Steelers coaching days, and we now have 6 children together. I love watching all my kids grow up, especially my son who took after his father's footsteps and now plays for the Oregon Ducks. Although I don't get to watch Jamie grow up, I'm still thankful to the Lord for giving me 5 healthy children that are still with me today. I started All Pro Dad, an organization to help fathers connect with their kids because that is something that is hard to do nowadays. I believe that a father should be there always for his kids to play catch or to tell even a little story. But I believe that, after all, God is number one,